Our last speaker is distinguished congressman, a lifelong San Diegoan. He has served the people of San Diego County as a lifeguard, a city council member. I think the lifeguard is was probably the most difficult. Council member, mayor, county supervisor, and of course a member of Congress. We are delighted to have Congressman Brian Bilbray here with us today. The congressman is a co-sponsor of the Family Act in the House of Representatives. He and his wife Karen are proud parents of 5 children and 7 grandchildren. Congratulations. We are pleased and honored and delighted to have you here today, Congressman.
Yeah, welcome to our little corner of the world. 5 children. I married a Catholic convert, and they overdo everything. But I do have to say, as somebody who has gone through some difficult times in the past, I think as a society, we talk so much about individuals having choices. And when it comes to reproductive choices, we tend to focus on one side and very seldom talk about the other side. And I think that that's sad as a society. Not that we want to make sure that everyone has freedom of choice in a free society and having the pursuit of happiness, as we say. But sadly that we don't have a balanced approach, and so often just in our dialogue and our discussion. And I think we owe ourselves that kind of open dialogue. I have 5 children. We don't talk much publicly about that. Karen gave birth to 6. And we lost a child at 3 months to crib death. And let me just tell you, as a father, a very proud father, we were very blessed by me marrying a good girl from Louisiana who was very, very fertile. But we were very blessed that we were able to spend 1 week for Karen to stop lactating, and another week, and in 2 weeks she was pregnant again. And so we were blessed to be able to look forward to our new baby rather than just dwelling on the loss. And we're able to build on the tragedy rather than dwell on the tragedy. And I just, somebody who's involved in the government system of how do we provide basic health care and a lot of that, I always think about the fact that blessing that we were given naturally saved the government a lot of mental health treatments, I'm telling you. Especially with the fact that at the time we had teenagers running around, so it is stressful from a lot of point of views. But I just think that when we see situations that not only are long-term and not affected just by people putting off the decision of having children, but my family knows different types of crisis too. We just recently, with all of the discussion about fertility and the choices that young ladies make and young couples make and older couples make, very little discussion was done in Washington over a situation that occurred to my daughter last year. And she was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma at 24. And we talk about young ladies making their life decisions. But Brianna had a choice to make, and it was, did she accept treatment that could render her infertile at the age of 24? And she, obviously this was a very, very important thing for her, and she put off her treatment so she could have that fertility treatment to preserve the option for her to have the pursuit of happiness, and when she found the right man. And the fact is that she went through that treatment. The insurance company did not pay for that treatment. It was not mandated by the federal government that treatment be there, and it wasn't even included in our tax code to help carry some of that responsibility and that burden, and to encourage her to make what I think was the right decision. Now, I want to say at this time it may not be really a smart thing for an elected official to say a week before an election. But I just went over to got my Livestrong wristband because the foundation actually gave my daughter a grant so she could preserve her options of free choice as a woman. And I want to thank Mr. Armstrong and his work in that. I think he's been a leader in that, and I think it's something that we ought to appreciate, that people are willing to step forward and do the right thing. I would just say that this act, the Family Act, is reflecting, I think, American qualities of individual choice and giving individuals options. And that means options for medical services that are desperately needed. And it is not an item of free choice to choose if you're going to be fertile or not. It is something that is chosen far beyond, and we need as an obligation to choose that. I just think that every family, every individual, every young girl should have that choice to make herself. And that is why we need medicine available to give her that freedom. We need the tax code to reflect what we claim our national standards are of individual freedom of choice. Then our tax code should reflect that and give just as much credit to those who want to choose to have a child as those who make other choices. So I'm very honored to be here. I'm honored to be able to work in Congress at this time, at least for a few more months, depending on the will of my constituents. But I think it's important that all of us with our own life experiences stand up. And I want you to know that there are some of us in Congress who have life experience. And I think things happen for a reason, and there's lessons to be learned from all of us. And the one lesson here is there's so much more to be done on this issue. Science has brought us this far. As a culture, we need to catch up, and God forsakes, as normal, Washington needs to catch up. I think with a passage of the Family Act, we may not be all the way up with the scientists, but at least we'll be making the effort to try to catch up. So thank you very much. God bless you, and take care.
Just going to close out the press event with just one comment. We believe the Family Act is just about the most pro-family piece of legislation in the U.S. Congress today. You all have an opportunity to reach out to your elected officials. And Congressman, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think it's important for people to know that they need to talk to their elected officials, tell them about how important this is, and that my experience is that you do listen. And that is the message here today for everyone, all of the members of the American Society for Reproductive Medicine, all of those SART clinics, all of us as patients and patient advocates, for us to raise our collective voice and let our members of Congress know about the Family Act, how important it is. And I assure you, they hear our voice. But we have to say it, we have to collectively speak it, and we have to share how important this really is. So thank you very much, and please support the Family Act.